James Christian was born on May 14, 1938 in Texas. He spent a short period of his childhood with his mother and 6 brothers in New Mexico before moving to the Blackjack Jerusalem community in Muskogee County. He completed his early education at the Jerusalem Grade School before going on to graduate from the historic Manual Training High School with the class of 1956. After graduating high school, Dr. Christian completed 2 years of school at Muskogee Junior College before completing his bachelor's degree in science education at Northeastern State University in Tahlequah. In 1962, he was afforded the opportunity to complete his teaching apprenticeship at the very same high school where he graduated. Dr. Christian continued his educational journey by receiving his master's in educational administration, also from Northeastern State University. He completed his postmaster's work at Arizona State University, Kansas State Teachers College, and the University of Tulsa, before going on to earn his doctoral degree in education from the University of Oklahoma. Dr. Christian is a very proud member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. He was initiated into the fraternity through the Beta Chi Lambda chapter in Muskogee. He recalls being recommended by L.R. Kirkpatrick, principal of Manual Training High School at the time. Mr. Kirkpatrick was also responsible for hiring Dr. Christian to teach at Manual Training. Here, Dr. Christian had many responsibilities as it was one of the smaller schools, but the primary subjects he taught included biology, English, and social studies. Dr. Christian describes L.R. Kirkpatrick in the highest respect.
Great individual, in my opinion. Significant individual. Made a significant contribution to my life.
When asked why he decided to join Alpha, Dr. Christian says,
I wanted to be in an organization that made a significant contribution to mankind, and that was the Alphas. The Alphas at that time were Emory Jennings, L.R. Kirkpatrick, Harry Hodges, Charles Adams, Vernon Fauché, Tansy Lockridge, individuals who were significant in doing some things.
Dr. Christian served as superintendent of Muskogee Public Schools from July 1987 to June of 1991 and dedicated his professional career to the education of young people. As the first Black superintendent of Muskogee Public Schools, this also made Dr. Christian the first Black superintendent of a desegregated school system. This happened to be 17 years after Central High School and Manual Training High School were merged to create Muskogee High School.
He had other superintendents, like the superintendent at Tallahassee, the superintendent at Boley, but they were superintendents of primarily Black school districts. But I was the first superintendent of a desegregated school system in Oklahoma. I think about it quite often, and think about the issues it could face. I had an excellent board of education, and the teachers were supportive. I just don't remember any clashes that we had.
As superintendent, Dr. Christian implemented many revolutionary things in the district. Under his leadership, the Muskogee schools brought in the use of computers, which according to Dr. Christian didn't sit well initially with the secretaries. A major worry of them all was that the computers will replace them. He also led the charge to place an emphasis on curriculum by creating department heads in each area, including English, science, and math. These department heads stressed their particular areas and began working on coordinating the elementary curriculum with the secondary curriculum. This system is still used today. He also implemented a teacher stipend program for the teachers in the district to be able to allocate funds to support a special program in their building. This program is also still used today. Other school systems in the area began to take note of how successful his tactics were. Hilldale School System is one example. Dr. Christian helped to mentor and train former Superintendent Mike Gard, who served underneath him as Assistant Superintendent. Prior to his appointment as Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Christian served approximately 20 years in the Muskogee School District as Assistant Superintendent and a classroom teacher. Additionally, he served 4 years as a consultant in the Consultative Center for Equal Opportunity at the University of Oklahoma. James Christian has benefited education throughout Oklahoma, as well as school districts in Arkansas and Louisiana, through his involvement in developing administrative and student leadership, development of multicultural and multiracial curricula, and as a speaker, consultant for desegregation and integration and human rights in service workshops. He frequently summarizes his philosophy on the education of youth with the simple statement, all kids can learn. His expertise in education and human rights has assisted statewide committees such as the State Legislative Task Force for Literacy, the Steering Committee for Oklahoma School Funding Reform, and the Committee for Research and Policy Development. Locally, he served on the Board of Directors of the Muskogee Chamber of Commerce, the Advisory Board for Connor State College and Bacone College, life member and local treasurer for the NAACP, the Muskogee Rotary Club, as well as a member of other professional organizations. As I sat and talked about living up to legacy with Dr. Christian, he gave me some very good advice for my generation.
I want young people to stop that. You have to live up to self. Depend on self and not other people. So you don't have a lot to live up to. You have a contribution to make to society. And that contribution that you make may or may not be as significant as your mother or your grandparents, but will be significant because of you. You're an individual.
What's your general advice?
In general, get an education. Education is the key that unlocks many, many doors, and doors are going to be open to you if you get an education.
Do you feel that you've completed what you set out to do for the city of Muskogee and the children of the community?
No. I still think that even though I'm in a nursing home, even though I'm 80 years of age, I still have something to offer to the community and still have some objectives that I want to accomplish. Goals, one of the goals is to increase the number of youngsters getting an education, also to increase the number of youngsters who apply for college, and also to increase the number of youngsters who have aspirations for advanced education. And by advanced education, I mean aspire to become teachers, aspire to go back to the communities that they're from and make a significant contribution. The time for talk is over.